I'm Allendale Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. Latest check of the surface analysis shows moisture slowly spreading northward across the Corn Belt. What's real interesting is the moisture flow pattern goes all the way from the east coast, southeast Florida panhandle, Gulf Coast, back around through the Corn Belt, and actually ends up in western Iowa. So this is a huge swirl of moisture, and you know what? It's all rotating around this low that basically is still sitting right on top of New Orleans, maybe a little bit to the north and northwest. That tells you this is a strong circulation. Now, this is the ghost of Patricia, the major hurricane that moved across Mexico over the weekend. So, I guess it's not overly surprising, but yet at the same time, the spread of moisture tells you, you know what, this is something that's not just going to sweep through real quick. Coming in from the west, we've got a cool frontal boundary that's working into the Dakotas and basically even the Central Plains. It's going to hook up with this moisture and I think really probably accelerate things as we go through the overnight tonight and through tomorrow. I'm looking at rains spreading over a good chunk of the Corn Belt. At this point, I'm going to leave my coverage at 80%, and I'll be honest, I might be a little bit underdone on that. But the reason why I'm going 80% is because I'm talking about rainfall totals of half to 1.5 inches. So, if somebody only ends up with a quarter of an inch, I guess you can't really lump them into the range that I'm talking about at 80% coverage. So, I think there's going to be some of that. I also think the farther north and west you go, maybe north and west of I-80 up in the upper Midwest, we've got less chance of seeing the better rains. By the same token, down along the Ohio River Valley, I think we can easily see that 1.5 inches. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that there could be some areas that go over that 1.5 inch top end of my range. Just like I think there's going to be some areas that miss to the bottom, I think there's some that could go higher. We'll just have to see. This is a rain event that lingers around into early Thursday. I think there's enough moisture at play here that it's not going to be a quick clearing deal afterwards either. So Thursday, clouds hang around. Maybe we see some sunshine over a good chunk of the Corn Belt Friday. But by Friday night, Saturday, we're looking at another tongue of moisture kind of sneaking up through, coming out of the Missouri Valley. It doesn't hit nearly as much of an area. 50% coverage at best, probably closer to 35, maybe 40%. Rainfall totals a few tenths to maybe half an inch maximum. However, as we start off next week, we have another big slug of moisture coming out of Texas, up the Mississippi Valley, and hitting parts of the Corn Belt. This time around, though, I don't think we have the rotational effect pushing it back into the western Corn Belt. Monday, well, you can even say Sunday night, but mostly Monday, Tuesday of next week, I think you're looking at the Mississippi River being the dividing line. East of the Mississippi, we see rains on the order of half to maybe 2 inches. West of the Mississippi, maybe some clouds, maybe some spits and sprinkles, but probably not much moisture there. And then we're going to be gearing up to have another batch of precipitation with a system that's going to try and come in toward the end of next week. So all of a sudden, this 10-day period looks like it could be a little bit interesting. The system for the November 4th through 6th time frame looks to be half to 1 inch. Coverage, though, could be 80%. Oh, and don't rule this out either. Could there be another system around the 10th, 11th? I think so. What about international weather? Well, I don't see any change in my thoughts on South America. We've got Brazil getting their rains. I like totals of 1 to 3 inches through the next 10-day period. Can there be some more than that? Sure. But 1 to 3 is what I like. Rain on any given day, not anywhere near that total. 30% coverage every day. But over the big picture, cumulative picture, we've got rains coming. Temperatures, interestingly enough, a little bit above normal on the overnight lows each day, but normal to slightly below for the daytime highs. That's not bad of a pattern. We've got good rains down in Argentina as well, although a lot of them are front-loaded here, meaning that we're looking at them coming probably tomorrow through Friday night, maybe Saturday morning. Looks like 90% coverage. And then the rest of Argentina's weather through the 10 to 14-day period is going to be a little bit drier, except for a few scattered showers. Interestingly enough, looking at the weather in Australia, turning out pretty good. Nice batch of moisture off and on over the course of the next week to 10 days. It's not everywhere on any given day, but I like rainfall totals of half to maybe 1.5 inches in spots. 70% coverage of Australia's wheat belt. Meanwhile, it still stays pretty darn dry over in Russia and the former Soviet Union areas. As a matter of fact, strong high pressure there probably doesn't allow for much of any moisture, except for a few tenths late the second half of next week in portions of Russia's southern region and southern parts of the central region. That's the way things are stacking up here. If you've got any questions on the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.